update on basically everything that's happened from Sunday, because I think that's where I left off in my last upload, up until now, which is Wednesday. So if I'm not mistaken, the last place I left off was Sunday afternoon, the day after surgery. She had been placed on ECMO right after she got out of surgery on Saturday. I'm not going to go into detail about that. If you want to know about that, look at the last video that I posted. It's got all the info in there. New updates. Sunday, she was on full support of ECMO, and she was in need of anticoags in the form of heparin. That's how they gave it to her. Their biggest concern was clotting, and she actually had a couple of clots in the circuits on the ECMO machine, and her surgeon actually came and removed those clots by clamping the circuits, and by circuits I mean tubing. There are tubes that go from the machine to Lexi. So he clamped them because there's like consistent blood flow through them, and replaced it with fresh, clean, clotless tubing. That went well. She was off ECMO for about a minute and a half. When they turned off the ECMO machine to replace the circuits, her blood pressure started to drop. So to combat that, they increased her epinephrine, or epi, to get her blood pressure back up. And when they gave her the epi, she developed her own pulse without any mechanical assistance from the ECMO machine, clearly because they had turned it off, which is awesome, which meant that she has the ability to, maintain a heartbeat of her own. That's great stuff. Oh, they switched her pain meds from fentanyl to Dilaudid, only because fentanyl has a tendency to stick to like the inside of the tubing of the ECMO machine. She seems to like Dilaudid better than fentanyl. It seems to work for her better. That's just my personal opinion, because she was on it before the heart transplant for other surgeries that she's had, and it just seems to work with her a little and last a little bit longer than the fentanyl. They had to do some replacements as far as blood, FFP, platelets, and electrolytes. So that was the big thing on Sunday, balancing the bleeding because they put her on heparin. Monday, they hooked her up to a dialysis machine. And before you freak out, her kidneys were fine. They used the dialysis machine to remove some fluid, because Monday they realized that she was a bit fluid overloaded, which isn't a good thing. Balance is the key, so they don't want her to be too dry, but they also don't want her to have too much fluid. Instead of putting her on like diuretics like Lasix or something like that, because those have been known to be kind of hard on her kidneys, so they decided to use the machine to pull some of the fluid off. So most of us know dialysis machine to filter the blood, yet it can also take some blood out. They also increased her heparin because she got 2 more clots in 2 different areas of the circuits. Not big clots, but they didn't want them to get to like a dangerous place. So they increased her heparin a little bit, which was good, but it had negative effects because it also caused some chest bleeding. And just so you guys know, because I don't think I let you guys know, she came back from the operating room with her chest still open. So they didn't close her up, and that's because her chest and heart and everything was just a bit swollen. So they want to wait and let things settle out. She was bleeding from her chest. She does have chest tubes to drain, but there was bleeding coming from the dressing, because there's like a clear special protective dressing over the open chest, but there was bleeding coming from it, and that was happening because her blood was so loose and leaky because of the heparin. It wasn't like bleeding dramatically like an episode of Grey's Anatomy or something. It wasn't like an emergent situation, like, oh my gosh, she's bleeding out. Like, it wasn't like that. So Tuesday was the day that they took out one of the vents, the left ventricle vent. I think that's what I'm like. It's called an LV vent, but it stands for left ventricle. That's LV, left ventricle vent. So they took that one out, but she still had 2 more at the time. Again, this is Tuesday's events. And they were also able to suture an area that was bleeding around the LV vent, which kind of helped with some of the chest bleeding. You know how you like burn the end of a frayed like shoelace or something to get it to stop unraveling? They kind of did, like, they singed a piece of a bleeding like blood vessel and closed it up, singeing it, not suturing it, because there's a difference. They got an echo of her heart. And just for all you guys who don't know, an echo is kind of like an ultrasound of the chest and heart. So they got an echo, and it actually showed that her heart function greatly improved once they removed the LV vent. Yay. As far as medications go, they started her on some of her rejection meds, Cellcept, which is one that we're familiar with. Her steroids got started back up again. And her steroids actually caused her glucose to spike, so they had to put her on an insulin drip. If you don't follow me on Instagram or Facebook, then you do not know this yet, but I did update family and friends through those social medias that she is completely off ECMO now. Yay! Her heart is functioning fully and successfully on her own. She's maintaining heartbeat, pulse, blood pressure, heart rate. She's doing all of that on her own, and it's going very well. Another thing she came off, the dialysis machine. So they don't need to pull any more fluid off of her in that way. So they nixed the dialysis machine today. Since they took her off, her creatinine levels did spike a bit. And creatinine levels have to do with your kidney function. They did spike, causing a slight acute kidney injury, but it's nothing that's cause for like real alarm. It's just her kidneys settling out from being taken off of the machine. So stay calm, don't trip. She's good. Her blood pressure is doing well on its own. They're not giving her as much Epi now because she is maintaining a good blood pressure. Right in the middle of me recording this, I just got word from one of the doctors that the plan is to close her chest. Either, he said Friday, I heard tomorrow or Friday. We're just gonna go with Friday. So the goal is to possibly turn this into an operating room again, and do the closing of the chest in here. It honestly just depends on her stability and what the doctors think is best and safest for Lexi. All right, you guys, I think you guys are fully updated. Hey guys, okay, so I have an update on top of the update that you just watched. So today, Friday, May 20 something, Lexi's chest was successfully closed. So they did that this morning. It took a couple hours, like 2 hours. I think they started around like 8ish, got finished up around 10ish. I might be making that up. But they closed her chest and it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone was up to date with all things Lexi. So stay tuned and I'll be talking to you soon.